Well, I think we've engaged a much longer process, right? The bishops have engaged the national Indigenous organizations in the preparation and planning and the choice of delegates. It's a lot bigger delegation, a lot more lead up, but we're also doing this in the context of life after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, after the final report, after the calls to action, and we bring all of that experience and the waves of suffering that we heard about as church, a much deeper recognition and acknowledgement of the way in which residential schools led to the suppression of language, culture, spirituality, ways, and separated children from their families. So we come with all of that, and the bishops having expressed an apology, an unequivocal apology, and so it's a different context, a much more informed context, I would say.
Ted, does it feel different this time around, this moment in history?
There is a difference, and the reason why there's a difference is for the simple reason that the children that are being found across the country, the BC, the Keeseekoose, and our community, and it's got the attention of the world. And I truly believe this trip is a lot better planned than what it was before. And everybody, there's a lot more healing that's happening in our communities. And the healing process is about choice. And the choice that people make, we have to respect. And I think coming out of the discussions with the Pope has to make a decision. The government has to make a decision. Us survivors have to make that decision to accept the apology. And there are many people that aren't going to accept it. But that's a personal choice of each and every community and every individual and every family. And that's the difference.
If you could say one thing to the Pope and say this is something that needs to come out of this, what would that be?
If I had something to say to the Pope, I would tell him there has to be a process. What's the next steps? And there has to be outcomes. And it has to be dealt with where the pain and the hurting is within individuals, within families and communities, within our urban areas and within our First Nations communities. That's where it's got to happen. That's where the hurt and pain is.
And Don, in terms of concrete action that needs to be done in Canada after this, what's the likelihood, do you think, that's going to happen in a way that will satisfy people like Ted?
It's only going to happen if we listen to survivors. If we create spaces in our local context to really hear the insights, the experience, the suffering, and the wisdom of residential school survivors, of elders, and allow them to point a way forward. With Keeseekoose First Nation and the ground-penetrating radar work they've done, they've engaged the church locally and told us, here are some ways in which you can help us. You can help us with records. You can help us tell the story of the residential schools on our grounds. You can help us with healing projects, initiatives. You can be an ally for us in our pursuit of rights, and you can help build relations on a local level, even on a parish level and a community level, so that we can break down that systemic racism and find ways to walk together in a good way. So that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate walking with Ted in this instance here, is that it's a signpost and a step along the way for us walking together back home.
I think it was important for both of you to be sitting next to each other doing this interview. What does the sitting together symbolize for you, Ted?
Well, it symbolizes a relationship, okay, in moving forward. Because what's happening in Canada, even within our communities, there is denial of what were the findings of our communities. And I reach out as an individual survivor to parishioners across the country to get to understand of what the hurt and the pain that we have went through. And Don understands what we went through, and many of the bishops understand what we went through. It's a matter of them committing themselves, preparation and commitment to do the job that's going to be delegated down from the Pope.
Well, thanks very much to both of you for taking this time with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.